Hi, my name is Sarah Kadlick, and I'm doing my final research project on the psychological and theological implications of group foster homes. I recently discovered that a child enters foster care every 2 minutes in the U.S. That's from the Adoption and Foster Care Analysis and Reporting System. I volunteered at a group home, and they took care of children that were between the ages of 12 and 17. There was 4 bedrooms with 2 beds in each room, and each day upon entering, each girl was interacted with. They had to get searched just in case there was anything brought in that was dangerous, as they really put an emphasis on safety in their homes. The intent in a group home, at least this one that I worked with, was to offer emergency, temporary, and residential care for children in the community. This one was open 24/7. There was several girls who came in the middle of the night, whether they ran away from somewhere else, needed shelter due to something emergency happening. Again, females aged 12 to 17, and they meet the residential needs of children and ensure the safety of girls in need. Group homes have a both theological foundation and a psychological foundation. You're offering the Christian foundation at the base, and that is to mobilize the church to help meet the needs of the at-risk youth. The mentoring and residential programs provide safe and structured Christian home environment, which encourages the youth to become healthy, productive members of community. A lot of times, when I volunteer, the girls would ask questions about what you believe in, what are their next steps. They're in that age where they're becoming a teenager or they're getting out of the system and wondering what their next steps are. The mentoring is more the psychological aspect of the group home or the counseling and therapy they would receive. One pillar is to befriend, support, guide, and help the youth reach personal, spiritual, academic, and life goals. In order to mentor them, you had to have been an active Christian in a local church. You have to be dependable and consistent. They find that out based on your references, so you can't volunteer with these homes if you're just somebody off the streets. They want to make sure that you have a good foundation yourself and you're going to be a good influence. Another pillar of success in these homes is to strive for mutual respect, build self-esteem and motivation, and lastly, work towards accomplishing goals. Some of these goals are things like college, things like how to establish healthy boundaries in friendships or at school and personal life, and little things like doing your homework, taking care of hygiene. Hygiene is really important, especially in the girls' homes. We talk about ways that we take care of ourselves, take care of our body, take care of others, and they also got the opportunity to cook in their own home. So we teach them small ways, such as cooking a meal for themselves, taking care of personal hygiene, and then their caseworker comes in, provides that counseling and therapy that they may need, and that dips into the psychological aspect of it. This is residential, so that it provides clean shelter. Safety is the utmost concern, and it can often be crowded. That's one of the downfalls. So a lot of people are in and out of these foster homes. They often are not in that good situations at home. And these programs are state funded, So it does vary state by state, whether you're in Colorado, Kansas, Texas, California. Each laws are going to be different based on the age of the children, how many each foster home can take in, how much space each child needs to go into the foster home. These are all dependent on the state's laws. We read in James 1:27, religion that God our Father accepts as pure and faultless is this, to look after orphans and widows in their distress and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. This just emphasizes that we're to love and take care of one another, make sure that every child and youth is taken care of and part of a family. We can incorporate that into our churches, even if you're not a member of foster care or orphanage or widow, but in the Bible and the written word, it does really emphasize to take care of this. And some of the statistics that I looked up, kids growing up in a single-parent home have a tough road. They're 10 times more likely to suffer abuse, 2 times more likely to drop out of school, and 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen. This is something that I had a lot of experience with in this home. These were females aged 12 to 17. They're at that age where they're hanging out with people alone and they need to be setting healthy boundaries, which is what a Christian-based mentoring program and group foster home can help establish. And they're at 4 times greater risk of poverty. In our Entwistle textbook, C. Stephen Evans noted Christian psychology can be the work of people who do not think of themselves as doing Christian psychology, and indeed might even reject the label. What makes their work Christian is not the label, but the fact that it's done as part of a Christian calling, and that the work itself is partly shaped by Christian character, emotions, and convictions. On my view, the primary goal of a Christian psychologist is not to be different, but to be faithful. In Isaiah 1:17, we see, learn to do right, seek justice, defend the oppressed, take up the cause of the fatherless, and plead the case of the widow. This speaks to the foundation or the pillar of what a group home is aiming to do, not just on a therapy or psychologist view, but also on a Christian worldview to help these people. And this just goes to show that everyone can do something. If you can't adopt, foster. If you can't foster, sponsor. If you can't sponsor, volunteer. If you can't volunteer, donate. And if you can't donate, educate. So even in projects like this, it just helps to spread awareness and educate on what a group home does and how that ultimately affects the children in foster care. And there's my works cited. Thank you so much.